The Arctic Research Station Omega-7 was established in March 1987 on a remote ice sheet approximately 200 miles north of Prudhoe Bay, Alaska, as part of an ambitious climate monitoring project funded jointly by the National Science Foundation and the Department of Defense. The station was designed to be a temporary installation, operational for 18 months while a team of 6 researchers collected data on ice core composition, atmospheric conditions, and the potential effects of climate change on Arctic ecosystems. Dr. Elizabeth Harper, the expedition's lead scientist, was a 34-year-old glaciologist from the University of Colorado, whose groundbreaking research on Ice Age climate patterns had earned her international recognition and the funding necessary to establish Omega-7. She was a meticulous researcher, known for her attention to detail and her ability to maintain scientific objectivity, even under the most challenging field conditions. The team Harper assembled for the Omega-7 project represented some of the most talented Arctic researchers in the United States. Dr. Michael Chen, an atmospheric physicist from MIT, specialized in studying the interaction between solar radiation and Arctic ice formations. Dr. Sarah Kowalski, a marine biologist from the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, was investigating the impact of changing ice conditions on Arctic marine ecosystems. Dr. James Morrison, a geologist from the University of Alaska, brought expertise in permafrost studies and mineral extraction techniques that would be crucial for the ice core drilling operations. Dr. Patricia Rodriguez, a meteorologist from NOAA, was responsible for monitoring weather patterns and maintaining the communication equipment that kept the station connected to the outside world. The 6th member of the team was Dr. David Kim, a biochemist from the Centers for Disease Control whose presence on the expedition was somewhat unusual for a climate research project. Kim's official role was to study microorganisms preserved in ancient ice, but his CDC affiliation suggested interests that extended beyond pure scientific research. The Omega-7 station consisted of 3 interconnected modular buildings designed to withstand extreme Arctic conditions, along with a sophisticated array of scientific equipment, communication systems, and survival gear sufficient to sustain the team for 2 years if necessary. The station was supplied by monthly helicopter flights from Deadhorse, Alaska, weather permitting, with emergency supplies cached at strategic locations in case the primary supply line was interrupted. The first 9 months of the expedition proceeded normally, with the team collecting valuable data on ice formation, atmospheric composition, and climate trends that would contribute to understanding of global climate systems. Regular communications with the National Science Foundation indicated that the project was meeting its scientific objectives and that the team was adapting well to the challenging conditions of Arctic research. Dr. Harper's weekly reports, transmitted via satellite communications, documented the team's progress in drilling ice cores that contained climate data spanning thousands of years. The cores revealed evidence of dramatic climate fluctuations in the distant past, including periods of rapid warming and cooling that had implications for understanding current climate trends. Dr. Chen's atmospheric measurements provided valuable data on the interaction between Arctic ice and solar radiation, contributing to models of how climate change might affect global weather patterns. His work suggested that the loss of Arctic ice could have far more dramatic effects on global climate than previously understood. Dr. Kowalski's marine biology studies revealed complex ecosystems thriving beneath the Arctic ice, including previously unknown species of microorganisms that had adapted to extreme cold and pressure conditions. Her discoveries had implications for understanding how life might exist in similarly harsh environments on other planets. Dr. Morrison's geological surveys identified unusual mineral formations in the ice that suggested the presence of rare earth elements and other valuable materials. His findings were of particular interest to the Department of Defense, which was funding part of the expedition and had strategic interests in Arctic mineral resources. Dr. Rodriguez's meteorological data provided detailed documentation of Arctic weather patterns and their relationship to global climate systems. Her work was crucial for understanding how changes in Arctic conditions might affect weather patterns throughout North America and beyond. It was Dr. Kim's biochemical research that would later prove to be the most significant and disturbing aspect of the Omega-7 expedition. His official reports describe the discovery of ancient microorganisms preserved in ice cores dating back thousands of years, including bacteria and viruses that had remained dormant in the frozen environment. The last routine communication from Omega-7 was received on December 15, 1987, when Dr. Harper transmitted her weekly status report indicating that all team members were healthy and that research activities were proceeding according to schedule. The report mentioned that the team was preparing for the long Arctic winter and had adequate supplies to maintain operations through the spring thaw. When the scheduled communication on December 22, 1987, was not received, officials at the National Science Foundation initially attributed the silence to equipment malfunction or severe weather conditions that might have disrupted satellite communications. The Arctic region was experiencing an unusually severe storm system that week, with wind speeds exceeding 80 miles per hour and temperatures dropping below -50 degrees Fahrenheit. Attempts to re-establish contact with Omega-7 continued through the holiday period, but when no communications were received by January 5, 1988, rescue operations were initiated. The extreme weather conditions and limited daylight of the Arctic winter made immediate rescue attempts impossible, so the first aerial reconnaissance mission was not launched until February 12, 1988. The search and rescue operation was led by Colonel Robert Stevens of the Alaska Air National Guard, who had extensive experience in Arctic rescue operations. Stevens commanded a team of specialized personnel equipped with cold weather survival gear and sophisticated search equipment designed to locate personnel in extreme conditions. When the rescue team reached the coordinates of Research Station Omega-7, they found the installation completely intact, but utterly abandoned. The modular building showed no signs of damage from weather or other external forces, and the scientific equipment appeared to be in perfect working order. Emergency power systems were still functioning, and internal temperatures were being maintained at livable levels. What was most disturbing about the scene was the complete absence of any human presence. All 6 researchers had vanished without a trace, leaving behind their personal belongings, research materials, and even their cold weather survival gear. The dining area contained the remnants of what appeared to be a partially prepared meal, with food still sitting on plates and beverages still in cups as if the occupants had simply vanished in the middle of dinner. Dr. Harper's research logs were found on her desk, with the last entry dated December 14, 1987, describing routine ice core analysis and mentioning plans for a team meeting the following evening to discuss unusual findings that had emerged from Dr. Kim's biochemical research. The entry noted that Kim had requested a private conference with Harper to discuss security implications of his discoveries. Dr. Kim's laboratory showed signs of recent activity, with microscopes still set up for specimen examination and computer terminals displaying data analysis screens. However, his research notes and specimen samples were missing, along with several pieces of specialized biochemical analysis equipment that had been specifically requisitioned for his work. The rescue team conducted an extensive search of the surrounding area, using ground-penetrating radar, thermal imaging equipment, and search dogs trained for Arctic conditions. Despite covering a radius of several miles around the research station, no trace of the missing scientists was found. The ice sheet showed no evidence of crevasses or other natural hazards that might have claimed the team members. Colonel Stevens reported that the scene at Omega-7 was unlike anything he had encountered in 20 years of Arctic rescue operations. The complete disappearance of 6 people from a secure facility without any signs of struggle or external disturbance defied logical explanation and suggested circumstances that went beyond conventional search and rescue scenarios. The investigation into the disappearance of the Omega-7 research team was taken over by federal authorities, with the FBI, the Department of Defense, and the National Science Foundation all claiming jurisdiction over different aspects of the case. The involvement of multiple agencies complicated the investigation and led to conflicting theories about what had happened to the researchers. FBI Special Agent Rebecca Martinez, who specialized in missing persons cases in remote locations, led the criminal investigation into the disappearance. Martinez had experience with cases involving researchers and scientists who had gone missing in isolated locations, but the Omega-7 case presented unique challenges due to the extreme environment and the apparent absence of any criminal activity. The Department of Defense's investigation was led by Major General Patricia Collins, who was particularly interested in Dr. Kim's biochemical research and its potential security implications. Collins was concerned that the disappearance might be related to foreign intelligence activities or the theft of sensitive research materials, that could have military applications. Dr. Amanda Foster from the National Science Foundation conducted the scientific investigation, focusing on whether natural phenomena or research activities might have contributed to the team's disappearance. Foster was familiar with the risks associated with Arctic research and understood the various ways that scientific expeditions could encounter life-threatening situations. The multiple investigations revealed several disturbing facts about the Omega-7 expedition that had not been included in the official research reports. Dr. Kim's biochemical research had apparently progressed far beyond the study of ancient microorganisms and had involved the cultivation and analysis of potentially dangerous biological agents discovered in the ice cores. Internal CDC documents, obtained through the Defense Department's investigation, revealed that Dr. Kim had been specifically assigned to the expedition to investigate reports of unusual biological activity in Arctic ice formations. His real mission was to determine whether ancient pathogens preserved in the ice might pose threats to human health if released through climate change or deliberate extraction. More troubling was the discovery that Dr. Kim had requested emergency extraction from the expedition in late November 1987, claiming that his research had uncovered biological agents that posed immediate and extreme dangers to the research team and potentially to global public health. His extraction request had been denied by CDC officials who wanted him to complete his research before leaving the expedition. Dr. Kim's final reports, classified by the CDC and only revealed during the federal investigation, described the discovery of what he termed anomalous biological entities in ice cores dating back thousands of years. These entities appeared to be microorganisms unlike anything in the known biological record, with characteristics that suggested they might not have originated on Earth. According to Kim's reports, these entities showed signs of intelligence and cooperative behavior that was unprecedented in microorganisms. When cultivated in laboratory conditions, they appeared to communicate with each other through unknown mechanisms and demonstrated problem-solving abilities that challenged fundamental assumptions about microbial life. Most disturbing was Kim's final report, dated December 13, 1987, which described an apparent escape of the entities from their containment systems. Kim reported that the organisms had somehow breached multiple levels of biological containment and were spreading throughout the research station's ventilation and water systems. Kim's final communication, a handwritten note found in his laboratory, read, "They're not just alive, they're aware. They've been waiting in the ice, and now they're free. God help us all. If anyone finds this, burn everything and evacuate the area immediately. Do not let them spread beyond this location." The federal investigation was complicated by the fact that much of Dr. Kim's research materials and biological samples had disappeared along with the research team. Without access to the organisms he had been studying, investigators could not determine whether his reports were accurate or whether he had suffered some kind of psychological breakdown under the extreme conditions of Arctic isolation. The case attracted the attention of various scientific and intelligence communities, with theories ranging from biological warfare research gone wrong to encounters with extraterrestrial life forms. However, without concrete evidence or surviving witnesses, the investigation eventually stalled and was classified due to its potential national security implications. The Omega-7 research station was abandoned and eventually dismantled, with all equipment and materials transported to secure facilities for analysis. The site was declared off-limits to civilian personnel and was placed under military surveillance to prevent unauthorized access. Over the years, the disappearance of the Omega-7 research team became one of the most mysterious unsolved cases in the history of Arctic exploration. The complete absence of any trace of the 6 scientists, combined with the unusual circumstances surrounding their research, generated numerous theories and inspired conspiracy theorists who believed the case involved government cover-ups of extraterrestrial contact or biological warfare experiments. Climate change and advancing technology eventually made the remote Arctic location more accessible to researchers and commercial interests. By 2019, the ice sheet where Omega-7 had been located had receded significantly due to global warming, exposing areas that had been frozen for thousands of years. It was during a climate change research expedition in July 2019 that Dr. Maria Petrosky, a paleoclimatologist from the University of Washington, made the discovery that would finally shed light on the fate of the Omega-7 research team. Petrosky was collecting ice core samples from the area that had once housed the research station when her drilling equipment encountered unusual objects embedded in the ice. The objects appeared to be human teeth, perfectly preserved in ice that dating analysis suggested was approximately 32 years old. The teeth were arranged in what appeared to be deliberate patterns, as if they had been carefully placed rather than randomly scattered by natural forces. Dr. Petrosky immediately contacted authorities and suspended her research activities until the site could be properly investigated. The discovery attracted the attention of the FBI's Cold Case Unit, which reopened the investigation into the Omega-7 disappearance and assigned Special Agent David Park to lead the renewed investigation. Agent Park was a specialist in cold cases involving missing persons in remote locations, and he had access to forensic technologies that had not been available to the original investigators in 1988. DNA analysis of the teeth confirmed that they belonged to all 6 members of the Omega-7 research team, providing the first concrete evidence of their fate in over 30 years. The forensic analysis revealed disturbing details about the condition of the teeth and the circumstances under which they had become embedded in the ice. The teeth showed evidence of having been removed from their owners while the individuals were still alive, and microscopic analysis revealed traces of unusual biological material that did not match any known organisms. More disturbing was the discovery that the teeth had been arranged in precise geometric patterns that suggested intelligence and purpose behind their placement. The arrangements corresponded to mathematical sequences and symbolic representations that indicated someone or something had deliberately positioned the teeth as a form of communication or warning. Dr. Jennifer Walsh, a forensic anthropologist brought in to analyze the discovery, determined that the teeth had been removed using sophisticated techniques that required knowledge of human anatomy and access to medical-grade instruments. The precision of the extractions suggested that whoever had performed them possessed advanced scientific knowledge and equipment. The investigation expanded to include a comprehensive search of the surrounding area using ground-penetrating radar and advanced thermal imaging technology. The search revealed additional anomalies in the ice, including what appeared to be structured formations that did not match natural ice formation patterns. Excavation of these formations revealed a complex network of chambers and tunnels that extended deep into the ice sheet. The chambers appeared to have been created by some form of controlled melting and refreezing process that left smooth, almost glass-like surfaces throughout the tunnel system. Within these chambers, investigators found the remains of the Omega-7 research station's missing equipment, along with what appeared to be biological cultivation facilities that had been constructed using a combination of human technology and unknown materials. The facilities showed evidence of extensive biological research activities that had continued long after the researchers' disappearance. Most shocking was the discovery of extensive documentation, written in a mixture of English and unknown symbolic systems, that appeared to describe ongoing biological experiments involving the microorganisms that Dr. Kim had discovered in the ice cores. The documentation suggested that the experiments had been conducted over a period of many years and had resulted in the development of hybrid biological entities that combined characteristics of the original microorganisms with human genetic material. The investigation took on international significance when linguistic analysis of the unknown symbolic systems revealed similarities to mathematical and scientific notation systems that had been reported in other mysterious disappearances of research teams in Arctic regions around the world. Similar cases in Siberia, Greenland, and northern Canada suggested that the Omega-7 incident was part of a larger pattern of encounters with unknown intelligence in polar regions. Dr. Sarah Kim, a xenobiologist from the Smithsonian Institution, no relation to the missing Dr. David Kim, was brought in to analyze the biological evidence found at the site. Her analysis confirmed that the microorganisms discovered in the ice were unlike anything in the known biological record and possessed characteristics that challenged current understanding of life on Earth. According to Dr. Kim's findings, the microorganisms appeared to be capable of surviving in conditions that would be lethal to all known forms of life, including extreme cold, radiation exposure, and complete absence of conventional nutrients. More troubling was evidence that the organisms could manipulate the genetic material of other life forms, essentially transforming them into hybrid entities that served the organism's purposes. The investigation revealed that the Omega-7 research team had apparently been transformed by the microorganisms into hybrid entities that retained their human intelligence and scientific knowledge, while serving the interests of the alien microorganisms. The teeth found in the ice were apparently a form of communication, warning other humans about the presence and dangers of the microorganisms. Dr. Elizabeth Harper's research notes, found among the documentation in the ice chambers, described the gradual transformation of the research team over a period of several weeks. According to her notes, the team had initially attempted to contain and study the microorganisms, but the entities had proven far more sophisticated and dangerous than anticipated. Harper's final entries described watching her colleagues undergo physical and mental changes as the microorganisms established symbiotic relationships with their human hosts. The transformation process was apparently not uniformly successful, with some team members retaining more of their human characteristics while others became completely dominated by the alien entities. The most disturbing revelation was that the transformed research team had continued their scientific work under the direction of the microorganisms, conducting experiments designed to understand human biology and develop methods for spreading the alien entities throughout human populations. The ice chamber facilities had served as a research laboratory, where these experiments had been conducted for over 30 years. The discovery of the Omega-7 site prompted a classified international response involving multiple governments and international health organizations. The site was quarantined and placed under strict biological containment protocols, with access limited to specially trained personnel equipped with advanced protective equipment. The microorganisms found at the site were transported to secure research facilities where they could be studied under maximum containment conditions. Initial research suggested that the entities posed a potential threat to global biosecurity, and that their release into human populations could result in a pandemic of unprecedented proportions. The investigation also revealed that similar microorganisms had been discovered at other locations around the world, including ancient ice formations in Antarctica and permafrost regions in Siberia. These discoveries suggested that the entities were not isolated to the Arctic region, but were distributed throughout the planet's polar regions, possibly having been dormant for thousands or even millions of years. International health authorities developed protocols for monitoring and containing any future encounters with these microorganisms, including procedures for recognizing the symptoms of infection and methods for preventing their spread. The protocols were classified at the highest levels and were known only to a select group of scientists and government officials. The fate of the transformed Omega-7 research team remained uncertain. While their teeth had been found embedded in the ice, no other human remains were discovered at the site. Analysis of the ice chamber facilities suggested that the hybrid entities had eventually abandoned the location, possibly migrating to other areas where they could continue their research activities. International intelligence agencies launched covert operations to search for signs of the missing research team members and to monitor for any evidence of microorganism activity in human populations. These operations were conducted under strict secrecy to prevent public panic and to avoid compromising efforts to contain the threat. Dr. Maria Petrowski, whose discovery had reopened the case, was recruited by the international research effort and provided with classified information about the microorganisms and their potential threat to humanity. Her expertise in climate change and ice core analysis made her valuable for understanding how the entities might be affected by global warming and changing polar conditions. The investigation revealed that climate change was causing the release of previously frozen microorganisms from ice formations around the world, potentially exposing human populations to ancient pathogens and alien entities that had been dormant for millennia. The Omega-7 case served as a warning about the potential consequences of continued polar ice melting. The case became the subject of intensive study by astrobiologists and researchers involved in the search for extraterrestrial life. The microorganisms' characteristics suggested that they might represent the first confirmed evidence of life that had originated beyond Earth, though their exact origins remained unknown. Dr. Foster, who had conducted the original scientific investigation into the Omega-7 disappearance, was recruited to lead a new international research program focused on understanding and containing the microorganisms. The program operated under extreme secrecy and involved scientists from multiple countries working together to address what was considered a potential threat to human civilization. The teeth found frozen in the ice became symbols of the unknown dangers that lie hidden in the Earth's polar regions, waiting to be released by climate change or human exploration. The discovery served as a reminder that scientific exploration, while essential for human progress, sometimes uncovers threats that humanity is not prepared to handle. The story of the Omega-7 research team became a classified case study, used to train scientists and government officials about the potential risks associated with research in extreme environments. The case highlighted the importance of proper containment protocols and the need for international cooperation in addressing threats that transcend national boundaries. Today, the site of the former Omega-7 research station remains under international quarantine, monitored by remote sensors and visited only by specially trained personnel conducting ongoing research into the microorganisms and their potential effects on human populations. The site serves as a stark reminder of the dangers that can emerge when scientific curiosity encounters forces beyond human understanding. The teeth found frozen in the ice were not just the remains of missing scientists. They were a warning message left by human beings who had encountered something far more dangerous than they could have imagined. Their sacrifice in leaving that warning may have saved humanity from a threat that could have spread undetected throughout the world's population. The macabre history of the Arctic scientists who disappeared without a trace serves as a cautionary tale about the unknown dangers that lie hidden in the Earth's most remote regions. As climate change continues to alter the polar landscape, releasing ancient materials that have been frozen for millennia, the case of Omega-7 reminds us that some discoveries are too dangerous to make, and some knowledge comes at too high a price. The investigation into the Omega-7 case continues today, conducted by an international consortium of scientists and security agencies working to understand and contain threats that could emerge from the changing polar environment. The teeth found in the ice were just the beginning of a story that may still be unfolding, as humanity grapples with the consequences of exploring the unknown depths of our own planet. In the end, the 6 scientists of the Omega-7 research team did not simply disappear. They became something else, transformed by their encounter with entities that had been waiting in the ice for an opportunity to emerge into the modern world. Their teeth, carefully arranged in the ice as a final act of human consciousness, serve as an eternal warning about the dangers that still lie hidden in the frozen wastes of our planet, waiting for the next group of researchers brave enough, or foolish enough, to disturb their ancient slumber.